All right. Big us, everyone. Us.
Oh,
I hope everyone's well. Welcome to the Kyokushin Shuffle. We have two very special guests today. I'd like to introduce everyone and welcome Shihan Judd Reid from Melbourne and Shihan Tom Callahan, based in Colorado. Shihans, how are you? And welcome to the Kyokushin Shuffle.
Great to be here. Shihan Tom, good evening to you over there, and good morning to you here, Sensei Pat.
Yeah, well, I am honored just to be next to you on this, and so Sensei, thank you for inviting me. And I haven't seen Judd in person like this in live, for a bit. We don't talk as much as we used to because he's so busy building his empire, and so I'm honored to be here with someone that's sort of a mentor and an inspiration to me. So thank you for having me.
So Shihan Judd, give us all a bit of a base and a bit of a starting point in breaking the ice with how you and Shihan Tom know each other, and then let's deep dive into Shihan Tom a little bit more.
Yeah, first, I just want to say thank you, Sensei Pat, for organising this. And Shihan Tom, a pleasure and honour is all mine, mate. You're an absolute gentleman. Obviously, we all known of Shihan Tom for years. I've watched his dojo in Los Angeles, but I got to know him personally. He contacted me while I was living in Thailand about 5 years ago, the first time, and he said, "Would you be interested in coming to the States to do a seminar?" And of course, I said, "Absolutely, I would love to visit the States and visit you and visit your dojo and your students, and I mean, that'd be like a dream trip come true, so to speak." So that's how it became, just through conversation, through talking to each other over the phone. Jumped on a plane and visited him and did a seminar over there, and it was just amazing. It was a 2-day seminar. I went to his dojo. The next day, the following day, Sensei Dolph Lundgren came and did the seminar with us, which was just incredible. Yeah. People from all around, pretty much America, came to that seminar. It was just absolutely
it was an amazing seminar. How about the lunch? Who was at the lunch?
Then the lunch was with Yamaki Kenji and Dolph Lundgren.
Yamaki.
That was
amazing.
I was just sitting there going, "Wow, am I actually really here?" That was incredible, and it was interesting.
Sensei Dolph loved your book too.
Yeah, no, it was really an incredible trip, and also one of the mornings we did a early morning session on Venice Beach.
Oh yes.
Which was basically 2 kilometers away from that movie, Pumping Iron, where Arnold Schwarzenegger did that movie. So we're literally there, right there, doing this amazing early morning training session. Fight all, running up and down Venice Beach.
Yeah. Well, and I learned, and one of the techniques I had never done before was with standing in the middle and then getting kicked or kicking, washing these chudons into the stomach in the water. It was awesome.
I have that picture on my dojo at the so it's just a memorabilia there and some memories that I have of that time. It was amazing. So that's
I think I met. I'm trying to remember how I first. I mean, of course, you're legendary, and I knew about you, but it was with your brother, your best friend, Anton Kafka.
Yes.
And he came out to Venice as well, because I was living in Marina del Rey, Venice, and we did a showing before I met you. We did a showing of your 100-man Journey's the 100-man fight at Venice at a little venue, and we had a lot of the students and a lot of the martial artists around the city come and watch that, and it was incredibly inspiring. And that was the big thing, and that's when I said, I got to have you out. I better bring you out somehow. Yeah, that was it. Anton was incredibly supportive, and he was the genesis, I think, of all that. And
100%, Tom. Everything I do is in honor of him. He visited Los Angeles. He went to New York. He went all around America to do different screenings of the 100-man fight and to enter into film festivals and all that kind of thing. It was actually that's pretty amazing. Yeah, that's
how it was. And what an incredible individual he was.
Wow.
And just loved you so much. And he actually inspired me to say, I got to really get to know you better. That was how the genesis of it was. And he came actually to my dojo one night as well. Now I'm remembering, and he was an amazing photographer, if you remember.
Yeah.
And he took tons of photos. I still have those, and some of the best photos I've ever taken of my dojo and training were from him. He just spent 2 hours there on the floor and on his knees, laying down, doing the whole thing. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Patrick Pinto, Sensei, you know him well too. We spent a lot of time together doing different things, and we know Patrick knows Anton very, very well, and he's an absolute gentleman. Miss him dearly, and just trying to do everything in honor of him. And he fuels me with energy. He fuels me with energy to work hard and to succeed. And everything I look around, I look at a thing like I think I've got because of him. So work hard, and
fantastic.
Well, so I always pay my respects and gratitude rather to him for introducing us.
That's very special. Very special. And Anton, I always gesture, he's up in my dojo as well, in respect of, just that mateship and just his enthusiasm and look at that. What a beautiful story to share as well. And Anton, rest in peace. But I always think he's around, no doubt about it. And more so on this digital angle, he and I used to always have a lunch or a coffee monthly, in respect of what we were doing for Shihan Judd and it was just, I was in the digital radio TV landscape at that time, and I would just share some of the, analysis and data of what's happening in that world. And, before you knew it, it was, he was onto something pretty amazing for everyone. Thank you for sharing that. How cool, huh? So, gentlemen.
Well, it just came up because I was thinking, oh man, it's Anton. Anton brought us together.
Yeah.
And he would be very happy to see us. He'd be so proud of Judd.
He'd be loving this.
Yeah.
Well, what you've accomplished in the last few years too is amazing, Shihan. I mean, and building the beautiful dojo, I watched that being built because you were sharing pictures and sharing. I mean, I was really, really happy when I saw you doing that, and you get home to get to see your mom and stuff. So when you were doing all that, I was really just proud of you, and as your big brother, older brother, I was really saying, come on, yeah.
Can I tap into the angle here that many Kyokushin, I guess, around the world don't get the luxury of having a lunch with Shihan Tom, Callahan, Sensei Dolph Lundgren, and Shihan Yamaki. Shihan Tom, can you share with us how you have that relationship?
Well, first of all, that lunch, me, honestly, I sat in the back and just was like, I can't believe I'm sitting here with Shihan Judd Reid, Kenji Yamaki, Shihan, and Dolph. Even though Yamaki and Dolph were friends, and Judd was a new friend. I mean, I knew him, but a new friend in person. I was just like, wow, I don't deserve to be here. I don't know how I got here, but I'm just like so fortunate to be in these guys' company, and they inspired me to train harder, to be a better martial artist. And I don't how it happened. It was just I became friends with Sensei Dolph just randomly. Can I share the story real quick?
Please, no. That's
okay. I don't want to waste your time. So the first time I met Shihan Dolph is that I went to a business meeting at the W Hotel in Westwood, where UCLA is, and I was early for my meeting. So of course, where did I go? I went to the bar to have a beer. And there's no one in the bar. It's a long bar, and there was no one there except two people with their backs to me, a woman and a guy. So I ordered, I'll never forget, I was ordering an Amstel Light, and there's no one there, and I kind of see out the side of my eye, it's Dolph, And so I knew, of course, he trained at Kyokushin. So I said, "Oh," and he turned around. He's like all panicky, "Oh." He didn't know who I was or anything, but he panicked. And, he had a couple of drinks, and he bought me a tequila. And so I gave him my card, and I was at Manhattan Beach Dojo at the time. I was vice president of the dojo. It wasn't my dojo, but I was still training with IKO in the IKO organization. So I said, please come to Manhattan Beach, where I was training, and someday as my guest, or our guest. And of course, he never called. And then about 3 years later, I was living in Marina Del Rey, where Shihan Judd had visited me. And across the street in Judd, I don't know if you came here with me, there's a little Persian restaurant that my wife and I used to go to quite a bit. And little tiny place, 6 tables. And my wife and I were eating there one day. We just got up to walk out, and here comes Dolph with his ex, his girlfriend. And he's in his tracksuit, like a warm-up suit. And I reintroduced myself, and he remembered me, and we talked. And he said, I just came back from the beach doing kata. So I said, which kata were you doing? Yansu. I was doing Yansu. And I said, okay. And he goes, I'm really missing putting the gi on. I really want to train. I said, well, I have a dojo in Santa Monica now. And here's my card. Please call me. And I was at my office one day, and my receptionist called out. I'll never forget. She said, Tom, Dolph Lundgren's on the phone?
Yeah.
And they're like, didn't believe it, you know, and stuff. And then Dolph started training and coming once in a while to my dojo. And then he came to Judd's seminar that I hosted for him. And anyway, we just became friendly. And
Very good.
And he also never had met, he met Yamaki on a movie, Sensei Judd did. And it's a funny story. I guess I can tell this as well.
Of course.
That Dolph had told me that when Yamaki and a couple of other Kyokushin guys were in one of his movies, and I can't recall which movie it was, that Yamaki had to die in the movie.
Yeah.
Judd, do you remember this? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Yamaki Shihan says, no, I can't die. I can't die. And Dolph said, well, if you want to be in the movie, you're going to have to die. And so he did.
Remember you saying my parents are not going to be happy?
Oh, yes. The honor.
He was really worried about his parents, what they were going to think about him dying.
Exactly.
You know, in the movie. He's like, I can't die. He goes, well, you're the bad guy. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Hollywood,
right? So, speaking of Hollywood, we still have to make a movie out of Judd's book, which is tailor-made for a movie.
Oh, is it ever? Oh, thank you for sharing that, Shihan Tom. That's very cool. That gives us all a bit of a feeling of understanding how that relationship had started. Hey, Shihan Judd, your time with Shihan Tom. Let's share that before, again, we give the floor to Shihan Tom and just understanding, you know, his background and moving forward.
Yeah, so Shihan Tom, I met him in Los Angeles, and his hospitality was just beautiful. He welcomed me into his house. I stayed at his house during that time, which was just literally a kilometer away from beautiful Venice Beach. It really was just something like you see in the movies, just on the beach there. It's a beautiful sunset in the evening. It was incredible. So he took me around. He was actually doing a little bit of work at the same time while I was there for that time, and he took me to. There was some music thing going on at that time.
I'm sure there was some music involved.
And I was just, you were busy running around meeting different people, and you introducing to me people. I don't know. You probably introduced me to the person of Sony Records. I wouldn't know, but I know that you could see that you had a lot of contacts there, and you know, very involved in the music industry. But it was just amazing just saw a tiny little bit of what you did. And then we had the first training session. I think it was that very night. I think you said I'd arrived there after about. I think I arrived there like 20 hours of flying. So my sleeping pattern was all over the place. And he said, have a bit of a rest because we've got training tonight. Yeah, I think it was that very night.
So, you know, my students were like, I mean, you know, when Shihan Judd, you know, he's so known, and everyone had watched his videos several times because with the MCon came, the screening and stuff.
Sure.
So they were just so friggin' excited, you know, when he came. And he, of course, he's generous. Well, you're generous with your time and the photos after and everything. But the learning, you know, I don't have the background that Judd does with the tournaments and the fighting. And so even though I teach a lot of fighting, of course, but I'm not nearly on the level that Shihan Judd is. And so it's a really great thing for my students to be able to train with him and to watch how he trains for tournaments and watch how what his techniques are, and of course his kakatogiri is incredible, how fast he is, and so my students were just like blown away. And Shihan Judd, I mean, not to embarrass him, but his humility is just always precedes him. The humbleness is there. So then we trained for like 2 or 3 days, or 4 days actually. I think you were here about a week, but there's no Shihan student relationship when it comes to Judd. It's always equal, and it's always about sharing knowledge. It's not about I'm Judd Reid and I'm going to show you how it's done. It's nothing like that. And my students really appreciated that, and I think this is an incredibly important kind of trait to have as an instructor, as a teacher. And I think it's lost a lot these days that in the Budo philosophy that there is a mutual respect. It's not this respect, it's this respect. And when you show a younger kohai, a younger belt, a certain respect, they learn what respect is. Therefore, they then demonstrate and show respect. So when you see a higher belt or an instructor beating up basically a younger belt to show off, which Judd has never, I've never seen him even come close to doing that with his power and strength. He doesn't do that. And obviously I try not to do that either, but you're teaching that student respect, but not respect to give me respect. You're teaching that student respect to then give respect to others because they see how it makes them feel. It's all about showing how, it's all about making someone else feel good, right? It's always about empowering the younger up and coming student because you want them to develop. Yeah. And if you're pushing them down and beating them up with sort of like a condescending or a superiority sort of platform, it has the exact opposite effect of what you're trying to achieve. We're tough. We're Kyokushin. I can beat the crap out of you. Well, yeah, you got to be tough. You've got to do the body conditioning, but you do it with love and caring, like Shihan Judd does. And so when you teach firmness, but with love and caring and explanation, then you're teaching respect and teaching them how to respect others as they develop. So when they become teachers, hopefully, they share that same Budo and kindness. Yeah, indeed. And they show that kindness. They show the kindness to their students, which I just don't see a lot of it anymore. No. I see an attitude with a lot of the instructors, and I'm not going to point anybody out, of course, but it's just unfortunate that the ego has gotten so big and the stripes have gotten so many that they're not teaching with the heart as much as they should. My personal opinion, and this doesn't go for everybody. There's a lot of extremely great teachers out there, of course. But I think we've come almost into I deserve respect. I demand respect. Well, you never get respect that way. No, you never get respect that way. No,
you've raised a good avenue here to understand, I guess, in more so I like to share these types of stories because you're in, the west coast of America, United States, and we're down here in Melbourne, Australia, as such with Shihan Judd. And again, seeing, for you guys to have seen someone like Shihan Judd or a guest instructor with that difference or that, again, that unique style or his presence, it opens up everyone's eyes, doesn't it? And then just hearing you understand and appreciate something like that allows us to also appreciate what we have down here, with the luxury of Shihan Judd as such. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, Shihan Tom, so what I was working to, so now you're based in Colorado, Boulder. Reason being, if you can share, or obviously your dojo is no longer down in LA?
Well, I have Sensei Andy, the Vietnamese Andy. You remember Andy Shihan Judd? He's now doing some teaching there. The dojo itself doesn't exist, but there are some students of my students teaching there. I'm in Boulder for very simply the reason I lived here in the early 90s and loved it. And when I sold my home in Manhattan Beach, with the proceeds, I bought a place out here with the hopes of retiring and here just teaching exclusively. When I say retire, I mean to teach and not be in the music business anymore. But then I ended up working with a startup company that I think, Judd, you came to see, Song Trader. You came into the office, I think. And so I did that for 2.5 years, and then I was renting a place, which is the one that you came to, Shihan. And so then when I left that company after 2.5 years, I said, okay, I'm going back to my place in Boulder because I love the area, and I'm just going to teach. So I've just been really teaching, doing seminars for the last 3 years. And now, again, I decided to do a little music startup recently. But yeah, it's just the area is just so beautiful. And
it looks beautiful.
It's less than 2 hours to fly. It's less than 2 hours to fly to LA. And it's like $150. It's easy to get to. So, yeah.
So So how is it currently there? Not to talk forever about the forbidden COVID, but how is it going there in respect of rating?
We're lucky. You guys, I know, are getting locked down again. I know you guys are having a very tough time. Well, LA is also having a very tough time. In fact, my wife and I are driving out there with the dogs to visit some friends for a couple of weeks. But we rented a couple of places actually in Palm Springs to hang out by the pool and just relax. But yeah, it's not good in LA. It's not bad here at all because like where you are, Sensei, you live in the open space. So you have a lot more fresh air to breathe and not
Yeah.
sitting on top of each other. It's similar to that here. And so it's not bad here. But we do wear masks. You saw my wife had her mask on when she came in. But we hike and we ride our bikes and we train out in the parks. And
Yeah.
I have about 10 students right now, and some of them I teach out in the backyard. Some of them I go to the park. I have a little dojo, private dojo here, but I don't teach them in there much. You know?
No. So can you give us now a background in your role with your organization? And I'm alluding to something after you've explained that because of the online sessions that you've done, and I guess under the guidance of Kancho, Royama and so forth. I'd love you to just give everyone a bit of a heads up on your role there as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm you know, and Judd Shihan and I have talked about this over the years, but I'm very lucky that I'm with Kancho Royama. In my opinion, he's probably the greatest teacher in Kyokushin, in my personal opinion, of course. And he's helped develop me into who I am in many ways, and he's given me the opportunity to he's given me so many private lessons, you know, and not just him, Shihan Okazaki and Shihan Shijima and Shihan Koyama, some of the other people in the organization have really taken me under the wing. And again, like when I was sitting with Shihan Judd and Yamaki, Shihan and Dolph, I don't know how I got here. I don't know why I am here, to be honest with you. And I'm really grateful. And I don't take it for granted. So when I'm given these opportunities, it makes me train harder. It makes me want to learn more because I don't want to disappoint anybody. So as I grow in my art, I try to perfect myself as much as possible because I want to teach properly and I want to honor my rank. I want to honor my titles that Kancho has given me. And if I don't do that, then I'm disappointing everybody in the organization. And I'm just not honoring what he has given me on a silver platter, you know. And so right now I'm the vice chairman of All Americas. So it's South Central North America vice chairman, and I'm international secretary as well. And so it's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of work, but I love it. I mean, I just have so much love for the organization, and so when COVID hit, I just decided for my own personal students actually in North America primarily to start doing some Zoom things, and it got built up, you know, quite successfully. I was happy with that, and I was doing it 2 times a week. And then when I started my new business, it just got too much, and I had to stop. But I do it occasionally, you know, and I'll do a Saturday, I'll do something, but I'm not doing it 2 nights a week anymore. I did that for almost 4 months. A lot of work, you know. So, but I loved it. I got to meet so many people. I think as Shihan Judd will probably agree with me, because I know he has a lot of the Zoom things as well. I have students of mine and branch chiefs of mine studying with Shihan Judd at 4 in the morning. That's how much they want to train with him. They'll get up and train at 4 in the morning just to be with him. But I think that there was one of the great things is that there was so many students and so many people not even students, a lot of black belts training with me on Zoom that I hadn't had the opportunity to train with or get to know. And it's been so incredible. And it's as we all know, Kyokushin is a great community. I mean, it's a family. And the silver lining in this COVID, I think, is being able to do these kinds of things that we're doing actually right now. And also the Zoom training. It's not the same as being in person, but man, oh man, it was really a treat. Really getting to know a lot of people, and the community is getting smaller and smaller. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Jed, I mean, if you want to talk about that, because I know you've had a lot of successful.
Yeah, you know, during this time, it's a great way to keep the communication going. Imagine if we didn't have this, we wouldn't be able to. I don't know. It just you would feel like that when the dojo did reopen again, the dojo would suffer because you weren't able to keep that communication going during that time. So at this time, when we first started doing Zoom, it was very strange, I have to admit. But it's funny, we get used to things, don't we? We really adapt and we get used to things. So now it's, for us, we're in a big lockdown. We've actually got a curfew, so we can't even go out at all in Melbourne. Patrick's living out in the country, so he's got a little bit more freedom there, just a touch. So I actually look forward to this. We have classes 5 days a week, every single night. So it's just 45 minutes, and it just keeps the communication going. So I'm looking forward to seeing the guys, the students, and it actually puts a smile on my face. I'm like, you know, just,
Wow,
and we
that's a
work
lot.
hard.
That's a lot of teaching. That's a lot of teaching.
Yeah, and you know, and I've got kids class 3 days a week, and the adults 5 days a week. But it actually is. I actually work harder in a Zoom class than I do in a normal class. I am
Totally.
sliding all over the floor.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because when you're teaching at the dojo, you might do the kihon, but then you're fixing people and you train. But when you're doing Zoom, you train the full hour.
You're going.
You know,
yeah,
you're going nonstop.
Well,
I got in great shape.
You have to perform. You just can't.
Yeah.
They got to see. You got to lead the way. So I saw what you were doing, Tom, and I saw some of the things that you were doing. I'm going, that's hard work.
I was
you're trying to pull the poker face to show that you're not exhausted, but in your head you're like,
dude,
whoa,
my heart's beating like this. When I turn around to fix my gi, I'm going.
Exactly. You're trying to pull that, like, this is hard stuff. So,
it was hard. But dude, you know, I'm gonna be 59 years old in a few weeks, and
wow,
happy birthday!
Thanks. But this to me was really good for me because before we started doing it and everything was shut down, I wasn't doing my kihon. I wasn't teaching that much. You know, I was teaching my private students and stuff, but I really wasn't doing kihon consistently. Yes. And when I started going back to do kihon consistently, as we know how important that is, man, I just started feeling so good again. My joints felt good. I felt strong. I felt fast. And man, that kihon, if anyone's listening out there, if you're not doing your kihon, get back to it. And 100%. You know, don't do a count of 10, do 20, 30, do it straight through, break it up. I mean, the kihon is everything to me now. And it's so good.
Kihon is everything, and during this Zoom time, it's perfect because we've only got a limited amount of space. So we'll do exactly what you just said then. We'll do the kihon in between. We're down doing 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, more kihon, back down to doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, back to more kihon. And before you know it, the time's up. Everyone's, full of sweat. And that's it. You're feeling great in the mind. You're feeling, wow, that was fantastic. I mean, do it again tomorrow night. That's
exactly.
And it's keeping us, keeping us going, keeping us inspired, keeping us focused. I think it's kihon really at this time really shows you how important it is. Just basics.
Yeah, it does. And like you just said, when we're in such cramped quarters, you can't do a whole lot of Ido-Gekko, or you certainly can't spar. And in Goshin Jitsu, I'm trying to, show people some Goshin. You can't do it. So what do you have? You can show about, how to kick properly or use your hips properly, even stuff like that. But really, it's about the kihon and just kill it, man.
That's good.
I do the kids class with Lennox, my son, at 4:00, and it's a free kids class, meaning let's just get as many kids as possible to watch via Facebook, and just that preparation of getting the computer ready, the cameras ready, the lights ready. I'm like, oh man, I'm
already tired.
And then
you're doing, excellent.
And then I got a cheeky little rat bag who doesn't have other little kids next to him, and he's just. But
I found the kids really. I have 3 kids that I train, a 5, an 8, and a 9, and they're not easy on Zoom. It's really difficult to keep them.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, you see in the background they're jumping on the couch and the dog runs in. And
exactly.
There's mayhem going on around the place.
You've got the gallery. So sometimes when I had the big gallery, I get 30, 40, or 50 people. And I'm kind of looking at the gallery. I see this kid.
Yeah.
It's like.
It's funny.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah.
It's good.
But you know what? They got their gi on, and they're doing what they can.
That's it. We just got to try and keep it entertaining for them. A little bit of sweat out, and just basically, keeping the communication going during this time. Not shutting the doors, saying that we're here, guys. We're all here. We're doing this together. We're in this together. Let's just we'll come out of this on the other end stronger and fitter than ever.
Absolutely.
Shihan Tom, I wanted to bring up something with you, and you're probably the best person that I could probably get in answering this. I'm a very, very big fan of Shihan Okazaki. Very big fan. I love him. Oh. I love his work. A lot of people out there, my students, I send a lot of his links as such. His bunkai is just second to none. I have so much respect for that man. in respect of what I can see, of course, via online. Can you share with us a little bit here? I would like more people to start recognizing some of his, I guess, tutelage.
Thank you for saying that.
No, he's unreal.
He's a real treasure. In fact, we just honey, can you watch the dog? Last week, we just did a 3-day seminar with Kancho, Okazaki, Shihan, Nishijima. We just finished it. We did 6 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, last weekend.
Wow.
And Shihan Okazaki, honey, dog's barking.
That's all right.
Okazaki Shihan he's almost otherworldly. He's a big guy for being Japanese. He's 5'11". I'm 5'11". And I'm 5'11", 180, 178. He's about 185. He looks bigger than me. But his technique is, like you said, is insane. But his bunkai, his applications is not just, he can go through any kata and go through the entire kata and give you, multiple bunkai. And he's just a warm-hearted guy. He's very shy. He's almost like Yamaki Shihan. He's very shy. Total opposite of Shihan Kancho Royama, who's very gregarious, outgoing. Yeah. And Okazaki Shihan is the next Kancho. He's already been appointed the next Kancho when Royama Kancho retires. But what also Okazaki is about, and I have mixed feelings about this, so just so you know, but he's also the Kancho of another organization called Oshikai, which is Kabuto. And he's amazing with the weapons. In Kyokushin-Kan, we do a lot of weapons. Now, I'm kind of at the level where I don't want to do many more weapons. I have 3 bow katas, 2 side katas, a tonfa kata. It's like, okay, Kyokushin's more of a fighting art. I understand the value of the weapons for lots of reasons. But I don't want to get too much into it. But he's really into the weapons. But the way he teaches the weapons and then juxtaposes it and shows you the application of the weapon as an extension of your arm, leg, and most importantly, the way your feet move and stances and distancing, which is why the weapons are so important, obviously. He's a master at that. It's just amazing to watch him. And every time he teaches, I just learned so much. You have to listen carefully and you have to watch him. But there's always little things I pick up. It's an honor to train with him for sure.
Yeah, I've taken a lot from what he's done, and to be open and honest, I follow. So in having a conversation with you two Shihans now, the bunkai in kata, for example, Kyokushin-Kan has that via Shihan Okazaki doing the explanation. Now, the bunkai, meaning from my research and my application in teaching, I can follow the IKO, which is, Shihan Judd, the one that's got Sensei Gary O'Neill's in that one. And it was a videotape that was religious in our dojo in the early 2000s with Shihan Billy. It was a VHS. So there's not much bunkai there, but it's the application. Then we've got the All Japan Union, which we were a part of, which has Shihan Koi. Then there's Sokyokushin, which had Shihan Hanshi Oishi doing.
Oishi's very good. Oishi's amazing.
Yeah, and then there was another angle that I was, this has been the last 5-10 years, and then I looked at it, and then I found Shihan Okazaki in respect of the video or the content that Kyokushin-Kan have, and it's subtitled in English. Shihan Judd, I'll send it to you as well if you haven't seen it. And it's very basic, it's very clean, it's very concise.
Those are the old ones. Those are the old ones from 2011, I think.
Right, there you have it.
There are some new ones, and there's also YouTube channels now with some updated things. So, but the 2011 ones, honestly, I learned a lot. I left IKO in 2008.
Okay.
And I originally joined Kan in 2003 when it started, just for 1 year. Went back to IKO and then came back to Kan in 2008. And so, starting in 2008, I didn't really have a teacher except my Japanese teachers, but I was living in the States. So I started learning the kata off the video, which is never a great idea, but at least I got the foundation of the movements and the patterns. And of course, I already was a second-degree black belt, third-degree black belt back then. So I knew what I was doing. But then when I go to Japan, I started going much more often to Japan to get the real technical training from Okazaki Shihan. And I would say I learned this off the video, and then he would correct my elbow, correct my foot, whatever it was. And so to get corrected by him is an honor. And so when I teach now, I know I'm doing it correctly because I got Because I mean, my body doesn't move like his. I mean, my body's not perfect, obviously, but I know I can teach it properly because this is exactly the way I was taught from him. So that's a good thing. I wish my body could move like his, but it doesn't.
No, he's exceptional. Check it out, listeners. Shihan Okazaki. That's Okasaki. I'll put a link up. Z-A. Yeah. So, no, thanks for that, because I was trying to find an angle in like, imagine having to feel how a student as such would appreciate.
You know, as we age, I do a lot more Kato, and I do a lot more Iken training from Kancho, as Judge Shihan knows, and I think we did a little bit when he was here. But as I'm getting older now, I'm really doing a lot more of the fluid movements. It's good for my breathing. It's good for my timing. It's good for explosive power, generating working with my electrical system to go from 0 to 60 so that still I can get the explosive power. But I just can't bang as much anymore, because my knees, your body starts to age, and I don't want to get so bruised up. I still like to spar, of course, but much lighter now.
You've segued something for me there as well. You're the VC of the All Americas. What is in Americas as such, US and all around? Is there a tension for the next 2, 3, 5 years in respect of kumite? Is there growth in tournament fighting over there? Is it tournament level that is going to be something that Kyokushin-Kan or you guys in respect of other organizations in Americas working like we work here in Australia? We're in different groups, but Shihan Judd runs a tournament. We all support each other. How does that work there? Is there a tension for kumite, or is there a tension for other things?
Well, it's a couple of questions there, but the only people, and you guys both know this, that the only organization that really doesn't allow any commingling is IKO.
Yeah.
So we're very, very open, just like Shihan Judd's organization and So Kyokushin and Shin Kyokushin, and these are all great organizations, and we're all friendly. And I was just in Vegas last year, and actually Sensei Louise, who's the chairman of Shin Kyokushin in the U.S. I mean, how humble do you have to be? He allowed me to teach. He picked 5 teachers, like Shihan Andre Jabert and Turagosa from Puerto Rico, and myself, who's not even, I was the only one not part of Shin Kyokushin that he wanted me to teach, which is just like, I said, Sensei, no, I just want to come and, no. But I mean, that's the kind of relationship we all have here with each other, with the exception of course, IKO, unfortunately, because there's a lot of great people in IKO as well. So the second part of that is a tournament. We all support each other. We try to. I try to do that. Even with Sean Shanker, Shihan Judd, you know him. He's with. I apologize, Sean. I can't remember, but anyway, he's really like that as well. We all try to support each other because we know we're a community.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do right now, though, and I got Kancho's permission, is I went and did a seminar down in Costa Rica with Mauricio, Sensei Mauricio,
yes.
And we had a tournament down there, but I was allowed to do a Shinken Shobu match. So I had a Mexican guy and a Costa Rican guy, and had all the rules. I was the center ref, and they had the 4 judges. And I've never sent a ref a Shinken Shobu match, and neither have the corner judges. So, are you familiar with Shinken Shobu?
No,
maybe you're not.
I'm not.
Face punching.
Oh, with the white mitts, like with some 2-inch white mitts.
Exactly. Yeah. We actually had little boxing gloves, but and there's certain rules where you can take someone down for 3 seconds. You can put a joint lock on them. You can so it's a lot more fun. It's more realistic, It's not quite like Enshin, but it's we can punch the face. And I have that video. I'll send you that video really well. Yeah, I was really happy, and Kancho was very happy with it. So, this happened only a year ago. So then COVID happened. We haven't done much, but I want to bring back the Shinken Shobu face punching, because what do we get all the time, Shihan Judd? We always get Kyokushin's great, but you don't punch the face. You get it from the Muay Thai guys. You get it from MMA guys. But you know what? We do punch the face. First of all, if we don't always punch in the face, but if you're blocking here, all you do is move your arms up a little bit. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm blocking here. Punch me in the face. I'm just going to do this or this, whatever.
Yeah.
So we do train when we're training in the dojo to punch the face. We just don't have tournaments. these Shikan Shoba matches are really actually pretty good. I don't know why we don't do more of them, but I really like to try to bring that back at an international level.
Is that a Kyokushin? Is that a Kyokushin?
Kan. It was a Kyokushin-Kan thing. But
Okay.
It didn't last. It didn't last for long. They did, I think, a year or two, and for some reason it just kind of petered out. I don't know why. I was with Kancho in Japan last year, and I said, "Oh, Kancho, I'd like to try to bring that back in America because this is what I keep hearing, how Kyokushin's great, but you don't punch in the face. So it hurts our business, really."
What do you think of that, Shihan Judd? What do you think of that? When you
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I've seen what Shihan Tom's talking about. It's on YouTube, and they're wearing like 4 ounce,
Yeah,
4 ounce white ones, and it's pretty much like, you guess you would say, kickboxing, but with smaller mitts with a gi on. It's like that.
And the kickboxing,
were there takedowns as well?
3 seconds. You can take down.
You can take down.
I'll send you both this one we did. Both these fighters are excellent, and they were both humble. It was an exhibition match. There was a winner because one guy had to stop fighting, but it was everyone was. I was going to send a referee. I should do this. We're clapping at the end because it was such a great match.
That's cool.
And it was an exhibition match, and Kancho was thrilled with it, and it went well. And we all made a couple of mistakes judging here and there, but no one's going to know because they don't know the rules.
But there was a window of adapting as such, and that
I was really happy with it, and I was really happy with it. They can take down, and you're actually allowed to put a joint lock on someone up to 3 seconds, which could be
a bit of kudo. Sounds like it's got a bit of kudo rules in it, with the Kyokushin rules in it, and then without the face marks, and then there's a bit of leniency. Is it 2 minutes? 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
It was 3 minutes. 3 minutes the first round, then 3, then 2, then 2.
Yeah.
The kudo, I trained kudo just for a short time. We had a kudo instructor at the Santa Monica dojo on Saturdays, and I did some lessons there with the instructor who was very good. But I just had a tough time with this mask. I couldn't breathe. I'm sort of claustrophobic anyway, and I don't like I need my peripheral vision. And I couldn't get my air well. Maybe I didn't get used to it and do it long enough, but I like being able to fight. So this is a good protection.
It's safe away. Safe away.
Yeah, it's safer. It's safer.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it gives us a bit of it's good to hear. It's always this was the cool part of having you on the chat with us, and just hearing what's going on around that side of the world and appreciating these types of things. Hey, Shihan Tom, another angle for me was in respect of you've shared with us a bit of a little bit of your past, but then the future, the present, and now future. I always like hearing about the future side of what's going on. You're 59. You're so active and involved in what's happening here. How do you see where things are heading? I guess on all levels. Be open in respect of what's going on from what you've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. Can you give us your thoughts and opinions?
Well, I mean, I gotta again not to embarrass Shihan Judd, but I mean. Shihan Judd, there's a certain amount of people that are sort of, I think people look to that are helping shape. There's a number of people. Fuku Kancho Ninomiya, Mike is another one that I know Shihan Judd knows well. Yeah. And he's a great friend of mine. And he's doing a lot of things too. And he actually came to me last year and said, he wanted to get more involved with the community, nationally and internationally. And he started asking, where are the tournaments? Where is this? Where's that? Because he's taken over his dad, Joko Ninomiya, who's legendary. Mm-hmm. And he's here in Denver. He's only 45 minutes away from me. And we've trained together many times. And we're friends, we're friends. We're friends.
That's cool.
Off the court, so to speak.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
and he's an amazing individual himself. He does a lot of internal training. He's got a great philosophy. He's very spiritual. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of yoga. Mm-hmm. And he's an amazing teacher as well. And but he's one of the ones like Shihan Judd, and there's several other ones that are out there. And still Cameron Quinn, Shihan, he's still doing it. He's still out there making keeping his name out there and keeping things going and inspiring people. And his books are incredibly informative. And I mean, he was right there at the foot of the master, So I'm always inspired by Shihan Cameron, Shihan Judd, Fuku Kancho Mike. Yeah. But where it's going, to answer that question, I mean, I think what's really happening is Budo is going back into the karate, into Kyokushin. And I'm trying my best to be a small part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a huge sporting aspect, but I think that the people are starting to really understand how important living the lifestyle is more important than just getting the trophy these days.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing wrong with the tournaments. There's nothing wrong with getting a trophy. There's so many good things that come out of that. But I think people like Shihan Judd and myself and Mike and Cameron Shihan and there's a host of other ones that really are teaching, trying to teach with more depth of karate. And there's a lot of, there's Kihon Kumite Kata, of course, you see the circle, but there's even more than that. There's more than that. And there's the kindness, there's inspiring, there's being a good person, there's living and breathing it. If you're walking down the street and you're thinking about karate, to me, you're training. There's different kinds of training. It's not, there's hitting the bag training, there's kata, there's sparring, there's so many ways of training. But if no one's reading history, read your history.
Yeah.
Read your lineage. How did even karate come to be? What's the Chinese influence in Kyokushin? Just be a martial artist. Don't be a kickboxer.
No,
is my opinion, of course.
No,
don't hate me. If anybody's
it's again, I say I appreciate, because I truly do, because it's hearing other people. All right, it's here, and this is why I built the podcast, Shihan Tom, because I am someone that is very open to hearing, and there's so many, like I shared with you at the start, there's so many cool people, so much people with so much knowledge and different opinions and facts, and that's cool. That's why we used to like reading magazines, right, Shihan Judd? We used to see other people. Oh, is that what they're doing? Oh, is that what's happening? And that's the way we got to keep going and learning. Shihan Judd, what do you think about what Shihan Tom just said then?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, for me, it's all about family.
Okay.
And at my dojo, Chikata Dojo, even I have at the front of the building there, I have training for life. That's the philosophy that we have, training for life. Actually, I'm getting a new little bit of artwork done there. So it's going to be training for life and fighting. It's about fighting in life and training hard. And for me, that's why the classes that I do now, it's very much family. So I have a dad and his 3 kids trained together, a mum and dad and 2 kids. And I'm looking in the class, and it's very much a family environment, where it's not just tournament based, but it's about just all training together. And we can work together in the class as well, even though I'll put the little ones together. But, I want to create that environment where...
I was just going to say that. Shihan, you're creating that, though. See, a lot of dojos don't have that. You are creating that. And as the kids grow up, and with the father or mother who's ever training there, it becomes something to do together.
That's right.
And the benefiting.
That's exactly right. And I say that when people join up and the father says, "Oh, can I jump into the class with my kids?" And I said, absolutely. Imagine that. I mean, if they're playing football or baseball or other sports like that, and they take their kids to do that sport, the parents are on the sidelines. They're out of it.
Yeah.
They're they're on the, cheering from the background. But in martial arts, they're doing it together. So look at that bondship that you're creating there. Something very special, more than any other sport, which is unique about martial arts. That's what we do. And so they're coming to karate together. They're training together, sweating it out, and then they're going back home together. How great of a family thing is that?
Dude, I'm telling you, I have one father and the 5 and the 8-year-old, so it's 3 as a family. Then I have 2 that just passed on an orange belt last week. He's 9, and the dad's his late 30s. So I have 2 sets of people like that I teach. And they just love it together. Yeah, and the young kids saying, "Dad, you're not moving your foot properly." Okay. I mean, it's really cute to see, and I love it. Yeah. I love seeing, because I never had that with my dad, unfortunately. And I see that, and I just, wow, that's really great. And my daughter trained for a while, and then she stopped. But
what's cool is I teach a beautiful family out here in Melbourne, and I personally train them. The cool bit is when the kids get to get to do some kumite against their father and their mother.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, does that open some eyes? And
I bet.
you know, and then all of a sudden, over 3 months, 6 months, the father is recognizing, geez, they've got a good kick on them now, or they've got a good punch on them now, and it's like, yeah, stand by.
You don't have to mow the lawn today, son. It's cool.
Well, yeah, that's what's awesome. And I actually tell the dad, I say, see, you need to train. You got 3 boys who are coming up, and they're going to keep you on your toes. And then it's interesting, even with the Zoom that we're talking about before.
Yeah.
Beforehand, I'm seeing the dad fighting his kid there, and he's punching over there, and I'm like, how good is that? That's what a family's supposed to be about. Instead of the dad just sitting on the couch or whatever, they're doing it together. So for me, my chikata and my whole philosophy with chikata is family, training for life, training together. That's it.
Think of the Budo philosophy and the way the morals and ethics and what we teach, which is part of the martial arts. Now the family and the younger person is getting it with the adult. So they're both learning.
That's
and
right.
I think it forges better communication between the parent and the child.
100%.
Because you know how much it can be like this a lot with kids. But if you train them properly with this philosophy in the essence of Budo, they're kinder to each other. It's not always just the kid being a jerk and the father and mother is nice. It works both ways. So they have to kind of both regulate their behavior with each other. And I think that's a huge part of it.
And that's why the parent at the start, the father brings his kids, and then he sees what's really involved in what we do. He sees the principles that we teach of respect, discipline, confidence, always never giving up in your training. So the father's like, wow. And he wants to be a part of that. So he joins in with the class. So with all these principles, everyone's developing, the kids developing good character. It's just, I think it's wonderful.
And I know both you teachers, I'm sure, have gotten these kinds of letters like I have, that when the parent emails you or texts you and says the huge difference the kid in their child, and they're so happy and they're so grateful. I mean, it's just like, this is why we do it. Well,
That's why we do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you both raised some really cool angles, and principles was the word I've just grabbed from both of you. And I guess the you know, Shihan Tom, you alluded it to in respect of, it's not just about, you know, the bashing and crashing. We have to, the future, and future meaning, again, it's not the next 150 years. It's just, you know, within that gap of, 2 to 5 to 10 years for everyone listening, the future is starting to appreciate the behind the you know, peeling it back a little bit more. And then again, the fact that the word I used is this platform allows other people to listen to people like us, in reminding, you know, we no longer have magazines. We no longer have certain, you know, touch points for people to just read or interact and engage with. But this is the cool part. So, and you guys just raising that for everyone out there, you know, let's not forget those principles that the Shihans have just mentioned.
And I think, thank you, Sensei. I think that we're missing that art part. The art part is, you know, when I try to define it, you know, what is the art part? What is it? Define art, you know? Okay. Well, I mean, I don't have a definition, my own personal sort of definition, but when I'm trying to tell my students, well, in art, you have to do it. Like Shihan Judd is teaching, I mean, how many classes a week, right? It's not a money thing for him. You have to, either whether it's a training as well. Let's take training, for example. You have to train. You can't not train. It's like a musician can't not pick up his instrument. It's a love, it's a passion. And then you want to perfect it. So that's art. Art is something that you have to do because there's so much love involved. And of course, to be a good artist, there's a technique, there's fundamentals that have to be learned before you can start improvising, becoming the artist and expressing yourself as an artist. It's no different as a martial artist. It's the same. The difference is with the martial artist, of course, we adhere to strict rules in a martial military type of way, whether it's dojo etiquette, whether it's where you put your shoes, whether it's the certain respect you show your instructor or your senpai. That's the military aspect of it. There's certain ways we do things. But there's an art part to it too, which is where you have a love for it. You have to do it. You can't wait to do it. It makes you feel a certain way and you express yourself in this way. And then as we talked about before we get on the air, as you get up to a certain rank and you're comfortable with the fundamentals and your technique, and then you start expressing yourself with improvisational when you're sparring, or even in your kata, the fast, the slow, the fast, how you express yourself in the kata itself, or in your sparring, in your technique. That's when it gets really beautiful. So I always try to tell my younger belts, be patient. There's no rushing. You can't rush being a martial artist, just like you can't rush being a good guitar player. You can't rush being a good painter. You can't rush art.
No.
You have to be patient with yourself first and understand if you love it, you will be patient with yourself. And we all have students that are gifted, sort of gifted coordination wise, athletic wise, and they want to learn like this. Oh, I got it. No, you don't have it. You don't have it. It's not in here. You have this movement, but it's not actually correct. It looks correct, but the feeling and the bunkai and the movement is not correct. Just because you're coordinated doesn't mean, they might learn faster, but sometimes it's a detriment to be really sort of coordinatedly gifted and athletic because they think they can rush the art. You can never rush an art. And you have to be patient with yourself. So when I have gifted students, it scares me. I go, wow, this guy's a champion, but I got to bring him down a notch or her down a notch and got to work with them more. I have to work with them more and make sure that their heart and their head come together, not like just, it's not a physical thing. It's only half physical or whatever the percentage you want to allot to it.
Yeah. It's
physical and the other part's mental, spiritual, feeling, the Budo. So if you don't have that, you're not an artist. You just, whatever, you're a kickboxer or just a sport.
And that's,
so I really, you know what I mean, Judd?
No, that's excellent. That's exactly what we were talking about before as well, like principles. But there's another principle, patience, perseverance, and being humble about it and just, and just endure and enjoy the journey. There's no destinations like, right, I've done it, all good, finished. It's forever. It's the journey. It's the journey
that message needs to get out a lot more, and that's the cool bit of having this chat. That's that here we are again. Reiterating and reinforcing, I guess, as teachers and even as
part of the problem is we have this notion. I almost said in the West, but it's a worldwide thing that you're a black belt. Wow, you're a black belt. Well, we all know what that means. We're here in this group of people listening. We all know that a black belt really only signifies a place where you are, and it just doesn't really matter. It's just your growth, and we use it for a gauge and whatever. So like Shihan Judd just really adequately said is that there is no destination. That it's you take what you're learning in the dojo and you're applying it to your life, and it's a lifestyle. So to say, and you've all heard this as teachers, Shihan, how long is it going to take me to get my black belt? And it's a hard question to answer. I always hate the question, but I understand the question, especially from someone that's coming into the art as a white belt and they don't really understand. So you can't give them this huge philosophy and inundate them and they're like, wait, that's overwhelming. So you have to kind of be delicate with that answer. But I always try to explain to them approximately how long it takes if this, and this. But then I explain, well, this is sort of a misnomer about a black belt, what it really means. And we know people's getting black belts, they're buying them, they're giving them away. It doesn't matter anymore. So you just got to be the best teacher you can. And soon enough, that student, even as an orange belt or a blue belt, hopefully will understand that at that point, by the blue belt, yellow belt, okay, this is a lifetime journey, they hope. And it's not about getting the black belt. It's about being good at what you do. It's perfecting your technique, perfecting your karate, ultimately perfecting your character, which is the residual benefit of your training, right? Character development. So once they understand that, rarely do you lose them. But the hardest part is to have them understand that. And that's where a good teacher comes in, to try to teach the student that it's a journey, like Shihan just said, and it's not about the black belt.
Yeah.
And everybody wants a black belt because it has this idea, but the idea is incorrect.
Shihan Judd,
unfortunately.
Shihan Judd, if you can, if you don't mind, when Royama was teaching you, was the again, because he's taught. I mean, I remember you saying there was a lot of different classes, right? So you would have been privy to hearing certain different concepts and principles that he would have brought up. But the one that Shihan Tom is just saying for the listeners out there, that, to not scare away the illustrious black and how long did it take? What were some of the things that he would share with everyone in keeping them, I guess, you know, not too scared or too overwhelmed with 7 years, 8 years? Oh, what are we doing? Was there anything that he would angle?
No, he never really talked about that. Really.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
It wasn't. No, he didn't actually say there was a rush to be a black belt or anything like that. But I do remember that when it came to grading time, and he knew that everyone had given example I talk about is Nicholas Pettis.
Yep.
And Nick had only been Uechi-Ryu at that time there for 1 year, and he was going for his Shodan. And obviously Nick is training 6 hours a day. So we're just talking about a frame of time. And so I said to him, Nick, if you knock out 50% of your 70% of your opponents, I'm going to give you your second dan. He's standing up and he's telling this to everybody. If you knock out every single one of them, I'm going to give you your third dan.
Wow.
So it was just a time factor. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was just like, this was the challenge for that day.
Yeah.
And Nick, I think for the first 5 people, I think he did knock every one of them out. Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
They were just put up a little bit short.
And he probably still could too. He's all jacked from that CrossFit stuff he's doing.
That's right. And Nick talked to you about that. Remember, Sensei Pat? Nick and I talk about it in my book about that particular story. So there was no really time factor. There was no time factor.
Yeah.
Whether it was 6 months or whether it was 6 years or 10 years.
Well, there you have it.
It's just what it really mattered was the amount of training that you did and the amount of effort that you put in. That was it. That was the journey.
I'm sure Sosai had his own eye and his own gut feeling of where people were.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right. That's exactly right. He was not the type who would say, right, you've done your 6 years, here's your black belt. No, if you've done 1 year and you've given all of it and that counts for, forever, so many, that counts for 10 years. You deserve it.
Okay.
It was very much that way. You've done the hard work, you deserve it.
Yeah.
Not just ticking the box like, okay, you've done that, done so many years now. How much effort you put in.
Yeah, the hard work.
Regardless of time in some respects.
Gentlemen, Shihan's, look at that. How quick does it go? 1 hour. It's just flown by.
That was 1 hour, and I only went through one beer. I kept wanting to get up and get a second one. I said, no, this is too fascinating. I don't want to get up.
That's it. Again, I always try to look. An hour and a bit is what I try to keep to. But let's summarize some things here for 5 minutes. No problem at all. But Shihan Judd, floor's yours in just respect of having a nice chat with Shihan Tom, and then Shihan Tom, you can sign us off, and then I'll thank everyone.
No, thank you so much. It was great, absolute an honor and pleasure to talk to you both. This on what we're talking about today, I think is just basics. Working the basics, and basics is in life, is like life as well. Is work them hard. There's no secret. As Sir always said, the only secret is sweat. Persevere, patience, enjoy the journey, and of martial arts, and enjoying the journey in life. Yeah, just along those terms that I think that we've been talking today. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what you just said about the basics in life. Really, life is pretty basic. I mean, you do the same thing every day. You get up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you pay your bills. Life. I mean, with the exception of everything, but life is, you got to do these certain things. In the dojo, you have to do these certain things. So about the awareness too. I think just training diligently trains you to be aware of how neat your house is, where you're putting things, how kind you are to your fellow person that you meet in the street, how you manage your emotions on a daily basis. This all comes, you can do it, you can get there other ways. We choose to do it through our karate. So this is our method. So we have to honor that. And I just would like people to watching Shihan Judd, who obviously a living legend and just an inspiration to so many people, that we have to honor what we're doing here. We can't just go in there, train for 2 hours, hour and a half, whatever your dojo is, then leave it there and come out and be a jerk, or not apply the principles, as we just mentioned, the principles, to your daily life. I mean, this is what it's really about. The dojo, if you have a good teacher, that you should be learning these principles of Budo, and which are much more important than punching or kicking. You know, and like I know that Sosai had said about if everybody trained, there'd be no war. Now, to bring that down to a much more a simpler understanding, if we all trained with this philosophy for life, that we were going to be kinder and we're going to be nicer to everyone. And this world is so violent now, and so much this, we need to lead by example. And if we lead by example of the tenets and the principles that we learn in the dojo, I think, you know, we share our knowledge and we lead by example, and thereby hopefully making the world a little bit of a better place to live for everybody.
Shihan Tom, sensational. And this was the perfect platform to chat like this. And this is, again, I can't stress enough how pumped I am in chatting like this and sharing it with others, because whether we were at a bar with Shihan Tom or having a coffee or whatever, you know, this little round table is what motivates me a lot to get the message out there and to continue hearing others. It's very, very refreshing, Shihan Tom, to always just hear thoughts and opinions of someone that's, you know, again, the other side of the planet, and the synergies that we all have. We all, again, you know, in hearing someone different from my end is what I want to continue to share more of. So thank you so much for sharing your time, Shihan Tom.
Thank you very much for hosting this, Sensei, and Shihan Judd. We need to find more time together.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to come and visit you again. And
no,
yeah,
you have an open invitation.
No, I'm looking forward
Sensei Pinto, you as well.
Awesome.
Come visit.
Yeah, awesome. We'll make it happen in the future for sure. Definitely.
Awesome. I was in Santa Monica late Feb with my family, and then when we were just approaching March, I was in Portland, Oregon with my sister-in-law and her husband, and then we were hearing about something called COVID or something going on down in Melbourne, and people taking toilet paper off the shelves, and we're like, what is going on down there? Calm down. And then we landed, and then I was 2 days just in, and then, I mean, Shihan Judd, you and I were chatting at that time, and you were in Thailand doing your camp.
That's right.
Man, what a absolute, you know, amazing 6 months it's been. Shihan Tom, Shihan Judd, thank you so much for your time. How fun was that? I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you all enjoyed listening to Shihan Tom. Follow him on his Instagrams, on his Facebook page. He's got some really cool, you know, content and shares a lot of his knowledge as well. And Shihan Judd Reid at Shikara, he's got his Instagram and his social media all open to, you know, getting messages and all the above. So please leave your comments in below, and we'll share a couple of the things we've spoken about with some comments with the content that we put up. Thank you all so much. Big us from everyone. Big us on 3, 1, 2, 3. Us.
Us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Us.